Ben says, hey, Blake, is there a head and shoulder pattern on the 4-hour euro dollar? You know, let's talk about that because I've actually heard a couple people say this. All right, so let's talk about, let's stop for a moment. Is there a head and shoulder pattern on the euro dollar? It's possible. Okay, it's possible. Let's just get rid of this for a second. It's very possible that we see shoulder, head, shoulder. Very possible, but way too early. I was not shorting the euro dollar because I think there's a head and shoulder pattern. That's not the reason why I was shorting the euro dollar. I was shorting the euro dollar as a retest of this trend line. Okay, that's it. And and the German buns too that look like they're not going to hit new lows. Okay, so with that being said, that's why I'm shorting the euro dollar. If it ends up being a head and shoulder pattern, so be it. But it's way too early at this stage in the game to be trading this as a head and shoulder pattern. If you get yourself into the habit of trying to do this, like saying, oh, it's a head and shoulder pattern, so I'm going to short here because of it. If you get yourself into that habit, what you're going to find out is what tends to look like a head and shoulder pattern. Here, I'll give you another example. You know, you might go, oh, look, oh, here's a head and shoulder pattern too, right? Oh, yeah, here's a head and shoulder pattern too. What it ends up being is a continuation pattern. That could very easily happen right at this moment in time. You know, okay, that can very easily happen. If you keep trading these like that, what happens is you'll take you might say, well, I have very manageable risk here. You know, if I short it here, my risk is here. But what you'll do, what you'll end up seeing is so many patterns that look like a head and shoulder pattern too early on, they are continuation patterns. So you'll take loss after loss after loss after loss, and then finally you'll get one that works out, and you'll make a gain. You'll make a gain here, and you'll go, oh man, I knew it was going to finally happen. Well, yeah, after 4 losses here, and you got 1 gain over here, you broke even over the last 4 or 5 trades. So now you're just at square. You're at square one. You know what I'm saying? So I don't anticipate head and shoulder patterns when I'm at a quote unquote right shoulder. However, I shorted the euro dollar for other reasons. Now, if it ends up being a head and shoulder pattern, yeah, that'd be great. I mean, because like, you know, if we break through the support, like let's say we do this, we come down and then we crack this way, like going in tomorrow's retail sales, so be it. You know, I made a, you know, I'll make a great trade, but that wasn't the reason why I shorted the euro. As a matter of fact, when we get down to the neckline, I'll probably end up covering it if we get down there. If I'm right here and I'm right shorting at 65 or 43, I mean, I'm up 22 pips right now. If the thing gets back down to 111, you know, 50, and I make 100 and some odd pips, I might just get out of it and just and wait to see if the head and shoulder pattern plays out. And then if it does, then I'll add. Does that make sense, Ben? And Ben, I'm not here to beat you up either. Well, I am sometimes. Sometimes I enjoy beating people up because you need it. But that's just a good question that I think a lot of people ask. That it's possible, but don't trade it as such. When I trade it, when I recognize that there is a head and shoulder pattern, I'm typically going to trade it when we break a neckline. And head and shoulder patterns are, for me, are not, I try not to trade them looking for a or pattern completion. I try to trade head and shoulder patterns more for directionality. So in other words, they point me in the right direction to be trading versus me trying to trade a pattern completion, because head and shoulder pattern completions don't complete as often as everybody thinks they do. Okay, they really don't. And Ben says, thanks, Blake. Yeah, it's best to get the honest analysis. Yeah, and you're welcome. And I hope you Well, obviously you appreciate it, so good. It's a great question. Like I said, I'm not here to beat you up. Too many people do it, and like I said, so many people get whacked. I mean, you look at these, what people think are, you know, whether it's an inverted head and shoulder pattern, a head and shoulder pattern. I mean, how many people said that about this move too? You know, oh, here's a head and shoulder pattern. Oh yeah, and then they short 112, and then all of a sudden it goes, goes right up to, rips out to new highs. Like, damn it, I lost money again. Well, it's because you didn't let the neckline break. So yeah, you wait for the neckline to break, and then at that point you start shorting. All right, great question though. Rich says, morning.